Good morning and welcome to Join the Dots. Tuesday morning, awful lot happened last week, awful lot happened at the weekend, but you won't be shown it. The title of this episode is Pre-Economic Crash Conditions Everywhere, and that means pre-stock market crashes conditions are everywhere. That doesn't mean they won't have a final push-up, because they tend to do that. There tends to be a final push-up, lure the public in, sell them the rubbish, get out. I've got 3 very valuable links today, and as I've said so many times now, and you're probably getting bored, but I'll say it again, you have to work to get the right answers, like you do at work. You have to put some time in. And I'm going to give you an incredibly informative video this morning. And it's from Andrew Maguire and Alistair McLeod talking for, I think, just shy of an hour. But it covers so much. And if you watch that, if you listen to it, if you really take it in, you're going to see that there are pre-crash conditions everywhere in the economy. Everywhere. And not just one economy, not just 2, the lot. Everyone is in serious trouble. And you'd expect that, because how long has it been since we last had a problem? 2008, 2009 in the West, 2011, 12 in Europe. It's a long, long time, a long period of ridiculously low interest rates, massive credit formation, 3 wars, goodness me. Everything is screaming crash. One thing we've lost over these years is price discovery. Because when you've got so much liquidity, when governments are pumping money into the system, look at the US deficits, okay? When they're pumping this money into the system and it's at 0 interest rates for a long time, you get misappropriation of capital. No more have we seen that than China. China is completely and utterly collapsing under the weight of total misallocation of capital, fast trains to nowhere, 50 EV companies, just ridiculous misallocation of capital. And that's what they're suffering from, and we're going to see it. So what I'd like to do also, I said price discovery has gone, and this is very important, because if you don't have price discovery, then no one really knows what the value of things are. And one thing that's true in is the S&P and the American markets generally. And I've got a super link from a guy called Bill Smead, an interview with Bill Smead. He's a well-known market operator and he's seen it all. He's not just out of university with a flashy degree and something about, I don't know, ESG. No. He is an experienced market operator and he sees no breadth in the markets. Now this is like 99, this is the 99 comparison where we had 5 or 6 companies, took the market up to a hell of a level, crash as soon as they were perceived not to be quite as wonderful as they were. And we're going to see that this time as well. So the first link I'll give you is to Bill Smead. Please watch that. Actually, I might have said I'm giving you a link to Andrew Maguire and Alistair McLeod, might not? You'll have them both anyway, okay? But one is the stock market, which is Bill Smead, and one is everything markets, Alistair McLeod. Please listen to him, okay? Listen. He's got a wealth of experience. He sees everything that I see. Maybe I see everything that he sees. It doesn't matter who sees it, as long as we see it. Bond markets everywhere. I've said this before and I'll say it again, and I'll say it probably 2, 3 times a week in our episodes. The bond markets are in crisis. They don't know which way to turn. They don't know which way to turn. And what we're seeing from banks, and I've mentioned this in several episodes, is we're seeing banks loading up on short-term bond paper. It's paper they can use as collateral when they need to do repos. But that's a sign of disaster coming. It's a sign of disaster coming, okay? The banks are taking all the money out of the system to put into short-term bonds so that they can use it in the crisis, which they know is coming, But taking that money out of a system, what does it do? It makes it illiquid. Where do we see illiquidity? We see illiquidity in commercial real estate. We see it in private equity. We see it in private credit. Illiquidity is, it's a tsunami, but it's a slow build. It's a commercial real estate in the US has been illiquid for about 3 years now, mainly because of, or the catalyst was COVID. The catalyst was work from home. The catalyst was why go into the office. And we saw that in commercial real estate. It's, I don't know, it's a 5-6 trillion market in the States. It's big enough to be the trigger. And yet we haven't got price discovery. We haven't got people screaming about it. We've had nothing for 3-4 years, and yet it's dead in the water. So's private credit, so's private equity, dead in the water. But we don't get the reporting, do we? We don't get the truth. There it is, there's that word, it had to come, didn't it? We don't get the truth. So anyway, bond markets everywhere. Now I'm going to take you through a little tour around the world. Out of control is another theme I want to talk about. Out of control. Who is out of control? The leaders. The leaders of the economic powerhouses are all now out of control. Xi, I don't think he's really there. Trump, he's always out of control, isn't he, really? Love him or hate him, it doesn't matter. You have to understand that the flips he's doing on everything, the flips, he's doing flips on tariffs, he's doing flips on Epstein, he's doing flips on everything. You'd almost say he hasn't got a clue. I think he's cleverer than that. I think he has got a clue, and some of these are deliberate, but some of them are being forced. So you've got Trump, you've got the EU out of control, the growing feeling of despair with von der Leyen and her mob at the top, unelected mob, is growing. And a crisis always makes dissatisfaction bubble to the top and become the issue. Dissatisfaction, we're seeing it across Europe, aren't we? We're seeing it Poland, Hungary, we're seeing it Italy, we're seeing it Portugal, we're seeing it Spain. We're seeing it in all countries now. People are fed up with their leaders. So we've got leader problems, Trump, EU, Starmer, basket case, completely gone now, effectively. But he's still there. And what's happening now? Rachel Reeves, in total despair after crying in Parliament last week. Where's she now? She's selling the Bitcoin reserve. I think this will turn out to be a good move. We'll come on to that. However, it's desperation, isn't it? She's got to fill a gap, so she's going to sell these 100,000 odd Bitcoin that they took off crooks, rogues, drug traffickers. That's a big point. The US has a reserve from illegal transactions using Bitcoin. The UK has a reserve. The EU detests Bitcoin. I'm going to tell you now, I've said it for a long time, Bitcoin I can see being completely and utterly isolated and taken out of this world because it is not within their control, is it? So why would they allow it to thrive? They've allowed it to thrive to date because it's facilitated the bringing in of CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. It's allowed them in because everyone's seen what Bitcoin could do. In my world, and I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right, it's the joker. It's the one to lure everyone into the feeling of crypto, and then it'll get kicked out because it's not in their system. It's not under their control. And the fact that countries are holding on to Bitcoin reserves from drug trafficking, child trafficking, every trafficking you can imagine, shows you it's not in their control. Shows you. So will they allow it to exist? I don't think so. Not once it's got an able-bodied competitor where people can see something else that can grow like Bitcoin, but not Bitcoin. Within the system, within their control. We'll come across it. Other leaders in trouble. Carney in Canada. Canada's broke. Canada is going. Woken broke. Albanese in Australia. Went to China last week. China, the same country who had frigates around Australia firing live weapons, live ammunition, and hadn't even told Australia. And Australia didn't even know. It took a Qantas pilot to ring into the government to say, did you know that there's a Chinese flotilla out here firing live ammunition? They didn't know, and China didn't tell them. And Albanese is over in China now begging for more business because Australia depends on China. And what have I told you about China? It's collapsing. So where does Australia go? Where does its housing market go? Where does that banking market go that's lent everything to the housing market? Where does it go? Not good. Talking about housing, in America, 109 now out of the 300 largest metro cities are showing price falls in residential housing. 109. It was 31 in January. Can you see the snowball effect? It's coming. It's coming. And to end this episode, I'm going to give you some homework. Now, we all know, anyone with really their brain working knows that gold is going to be one of the answers through this crisis, taking you safely to the other side. You can't stop it. No one can stop it. These leaders are out of control. They're just lost. The bond markets are lost. The property markets are falling. Okay? So I'm going to leave you with a very, very good interview. It's only 10 minutes, I think. It's Egon von Greyerz. He's well known in the gold market. I think it's less than 10 minutes. So please watch the video. It's the third link I'll send you. Okay? Please watch it because he talks about why he invested so much money in gold in 2003 at $300. We're now 3,300 plus today. Okay? And he says gold, and I've said this before, remember the exit inverted pyramid? I've said this before. He said gold should form the base of your investment pyramid. We'll keep coming back to this because most people, remember, American investors only have 0.5% of gold in their investment accounts. He said it should be 20% of your investment monies. Okay? Please watch it because an awful lot of money still has to move. Remember, we're way ahead of the crowd here. On this site, I'm trying to get you ahead of what's coming. Bond crises, leadership crises, economic crisis, stock market collapses, property collapses, they're all coming. So let's get ahead of it. Thank you very much.